What's up, squad? It's Brandon from the Bantu Sun. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, I just got through watching the Trump Fox News interview with Britt Baer, and I just really wanted to touch on some highlights, some things that I saw and wanted to comment. Of course, President Trump is always a great person to watch regarding his interviews. He's probably one of the most, I don't want to say transparent because there's a lot of gamesmanship in the things that he say, but you could always see the direction that he's going, what he's trying to accomplish. Rarely comes off with a 180. Usually he says what he means, and the means to his ends is simply that it's means to an end. He's really focused on what he's trying to accomplish, and he'll get that done in, out, left, right, up, down, whatever it takes to get his the consequences of his actions accomplished. And that's always been his main motivating factor. But he's not a double talker like so many politicians that say one thing in the light and do many other things in the dark. He says, "This is what I want. This is the extreme I'm willing to go to get it. Let's talk." So I just want to talk on a couple highlights. We can start with Canada. I think he's taken a great interest in Canada for many reasons. Canada is a very wealthy country, and it's the second largest country in the world. And it kind of, because of the small population, it's kind of going under the radar. It doesn't have a lot of insecurities. Of course, it's next to the big bad America, but these guys kind of operate. They swim in the wake of America. And what I mean by that, they have this. Everything is given to them, right? They have this massive customer. The culture is very similar. America really doesn't take an antagonistic view for Canada. In fact, America, despite the lopsided trade balance, as Trump continuously talk about, America always seeks further integration economically with Canada. Canada really doesn't have to worry about national defense, at least not in a sincere way. It's always kind of fell up under America, um, much like Western Europe, without the risk of being close to Russia, all things considered. Of course, they have Russia on the other side of the Arctic Cap, but Europe shares this land border that is right next to the former Soviet sphere. So, conversely, America has a very trusted ally with Canada, right? Because Canada is not doing gamesmanship. Just as though Trump is wrapping this up, you know, Canada could say, okay, guys, you really want to play this game? We got a lot of resources. We can play this game. And they can start courting countries like Russia and start courting countries like China. So it actually goes both ways. And that's the thing with Trump is he hasn't ran into anybody yet that's willing to call his bluff. And so he's talking about, Canada, free ride. Canada's not paying NATO dues. Like, who's paying NATO dues? We did a video. We actually got a short out there based on who are like the top tier NATO countries and the bottom tier, and the vast majority of NATO countries are made up of bottom tier. Like don't Turkey's on that list of countries that don't like to pay NATO fees. Germany's on that list of countries that don't like to pay their NATO fees. Of course, don't let Trump know, but Denmark, the basically the sovereign over Greenland, is on that list of countries that don't like to pay their NATO fees, as including Canada. In fact, the real countries that don't like to pay their the only countries that really like to consistently pay their NATO fees is the people that benefit the most. That's going to be your Baltic countries, right there next to Russia, Poland, which is right there next to Russia, and who has been invaded from the east and the west of Europe, Greece, right there next to Russia, and the United Kingdom, America's great ally, pretty much the greatest, one of the great benefactors of NATO because NATO keeps Anglo influence on the European continent from a security point of view, preventing European consolidation of power, therefore mitigating any direct threat to United Kingdom. So that's one thing. Like talking to Canada, and if he can get Canada as a state, I think he'll take it. But like I said, Trump hasn't run anybody to call his bluff yet, and because as I said, yeah, Canada do benefit from a wake a lot of America, But Canada doesn't also try to proposition itself to foreign powers. It doesn't try to bring Chinese or Russian ships to its docks right next to America. It would create a lot more contention, but um, geostrategically, Canada solves problems, more problems for America than it caused. Now, from another point of view, I noticed his style of Trump, his consistent style is he likes to talk. How should I say this? It's kind of like this. I don't want to say abusive relationship, but I know he likes to talk down to allies, and then he'll pat you on your back if you do what he wants you to do, and in that type of way. It's a very controlling relationship. Granted, he's in America and he's using American power. That's one thing he's very aware of. He's very aware of his position and leverage in the situation. So, but he talks down to allies, but he talks up to foes, which I find to be interesting. He talks about Iran. He say, with Iran, we can bomb them, we can sign paper. I'd rather not hurt them. This is supposedly your foe. You're the great Satan. You're saying you don't want to hurt them. You could have said, we're willing to go either route. It's up to Iran. He talks about, as I say, he talks down to Canada, which is an ally. He putting in the tariffs. The tariffs are going to hurt countries like Canada and Mexico. He talks about and that's the one thing is, like I said, Canada hasn't had like a hawk leader. Like Canada might elect the next leader, and that next leader may be the Andrew Jackson. They might say, "Hey, America crazy. We are the second largest country in the world. We got oil and gas too. Why are we so benign to this country next to us?" Trump could spark that with allies, and in fact, it's a possibility he can reignite imperialism because countries say, "You know what, America." Because Trump was elected by the American people. And a foreign leader can say, American temperament, they put Trump in office. And the Americans seem to be tired. They don't want to be there for us. They don't want to protect us. The whole underlying value of the alliance with America in the world, which basically leads to this current relatively peaceful world we have, as opposed to pre-World War II times, is that you don't have all these countries jockeying over it. America was a great stabilizer. America was going to be a great friend. America was going to open its markets. And when Trump starts to turn on that, this is what creates the concept of imperialism and empires, because countries are like, I got to get mine, because I can't rely on America to always be there for me. So that's another thing. Who else? He talks about President Xi in China favorably. Me and Xi had a great relationship. Wanted a great personal relationship. He talked about the great relationship he had with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He, time and time again, when it comes to his enemies or perceived antagonists, he's very flattering. When it comes to his ally, he's very, he's bullyish. And I think this maybe it speaks to a style that he's found that works in life. People that are close to you, you govern by fear, and people that are antagonists to you, you govern with love. And maybe because when they're antagonists to you, it's so easy to go to that next level of conflict that you try to keep it on a different level. Or they're so used to that level of conflict, and that when you switch gears and you become friendly towards them, it really takes them aback. But what I've learned from geopolitics is that these interests and these leaders, they're relatively consistent. They rarely flip sides. I was listening to Richard Nixon. He was like, us in China, we didn't come together because we believed the same things. We just had the same goals, and that was to curtail Soviet influence in the world. So these leaders, I don't think Trump being nice to them, I mean, it may open doors, but like I said, he went to Korea, and I thought that was great, but did he really pull North Korea away from China? Is there American bases in North Korea? I mean, it looks good, but these global interests, because these political heads are really representative of oligarchs, and these oligarchs are there, influence these political heads. So regardless of the interest, don't forget World War One, the heads of states were cousins, and their countries were going to war. So it just shows you, I think it's that word I think is different probably in some regards from probably Trump's personal relationships, but he likes this style, and we'll see where it goes. He's obviously a great negotiator. Just with the King of Jordan, and they're trying to get Palestinians. He's actually running with this idea of getting the Gazans out. He talks about the Gazan Strip and how they want to evacuate. Basically, it just sounds like he's going to be the broker. When people were kids, when we were kids, it was a little goofy thing people would do. They didn't want to hit each other, but they wanted to fight. So one person would stand in the middle and say, "You hit me, I'm going to hit that person." So it's like you hitting them, and then now they're okay to fight each other, right? Because, but they don't feel like hitting each other first because they don't want to seem as the aggressor. So it's somebody get in the middle, and that's kind of what Trump is doing. He's like, "Give me Gaza, but Israel's going to pretty much manage it and take care of it." Like, it's pretty much he's taking Gaza instead of the Israelis taking Gaza from the Palestinians. He's going to take Gaza from the Palestinian, and basically he's going to gift wrap it for the Israelis. So, and the Israeli bombing actually gift wrapped it for the Israelis because now Gaza is like terra incognita, like it's like unknown land, like it's bulldozed, it's demolition site, as Trump says. So he talks about that, talks about trying to get the Arab states to open up their doors, such as Egypt and Jordan. And he talks about, he wants to bring the jobs to these Middle Eastern countries. But like I said, the catch is the Palestinian question will be over because there'll be no more Palestinians in Gaza. So he speaks about the Russia-Ukraine situation. He says something, and that's what I'm saying. He's very friendly to his enemies or perceived antagonists with Russia. He talks about Ukraine. He wants their money, etc. That's fair enough. But he says we're deep with these guys. Hundreds of billions of dollars. He was like, and these guys might be Russian one day. And I think that was inflammatory, right? Even me as a person that try to stay out of having real solid opinions on European beefs, like those Ukrainians are giving it all against a country far mightier than themselves. Them Ukrainians, and give, like I say it constantly, I've seen some clips, some very unfortunate clips, and the war in Ukraine is brutal on both sides. And those Ukrainians are fighting fiercely for their independence. And you just gotta give them to them. Like you just can't deny it. The extreme that these people are going through to carve out their identity. Like they got a lot of energy for the Russians. They're not fighting like Russians are our brother. They're like, look, we're fighting like Russians. We've been trying to get you out of here for the longest, and we finally got a chance that we want to embrace it with both hands, and we're gonna hold on to it dearly. So that you have that situation. So the almost like the Ukrainians are there, and he said they can be Russians and just dismiss all these years of staunch resistance, whether the war could be prevented or not. The cast have been died, and the dice have been cast. Like the dice have been rolled. What has happened, and now you gotta negotiate towards a peace. So I thought that was really, really interesting. But yeah, so it was on so many front. It was straight, candid, sober, transparent, relatively speaking, and energetic. Like, it's a lot of policies I don't like about Trump. Some policies I do like a Trump. That's neither here nor there. But I can see this is the type of guy you want on your side. He's 78, I believe. Highly energetic. He's just been nonstop, And I read a video the other day about work. Africans need to work. Like if you African and you ain't working like Trump, I don't know what you're doing with your life. This man is a man that has everything. Really, he got his model wife. He has his beautiful family. He has his billions of dollars. He's the leader of the country. Like it's so many of the heights of humanity he has reached, and a lot of people rest on his laurels. And that shows you that it's something that got to be deep in you. But I think every person that seek to better their lot for themselves or their kind, he does offer that for emulation because he's such a phenomenal worker and he has such great energy. that is somebody you would want on your side, because right or wrong, he's tenacious, and that's just something you can't buy with money. So let me know your thoughts. Comment below. What do you think about Trump? Do you get a chance to watch the interview? Love to hear your comments. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoy the content. Until next time, take care. Bantu up.